I know it's tough, man. What are your two favourite things?
I suppose I'd rather.
Owner of Dapper Chaps in Dundalk. Thanks very much for doing
No
this.
problem, man.
I want to get straight into it. Where'd you start? Was this always the thing you wanted to do, opening your shop?
Yeah, man, I suppose there was you won't remember it, but the time when all these home sort of haircut kits came out, every parent in the dog thought they were a barber, right? So I was getting like home haircuts with dad, and he was skinning the life out of me. So I took a notion one day. One of the boys asked me, "Would you cut my hair?" And sort of stemmed from there. I said, I actually like this. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden there was a queue outside the house, and boys were knocking the door, "Can no one cut me hair today?" Or blah blah. My mum used to crack up, but no, it's just something I always thought, I'd like to do that,
Yeah, did you go straight into maybe doing your own thing, or did you work for someone else?
Yeah, I did. The only reason I did that was because I was working in retail management. I was running stores that were turning over 25 million a year, so I was kind of big into figures and how things run.
Yeah.
When you're starting out, cutting the hair is the easy part. It's the running of the business that actually it takes a bit of time to get into, and you'd want to be have your ducks in a row before you start taking on your own thing. There's a lot more to it than cutting hair.
100%, yeah, I'd say so. And that retail side of it, did that come in useful?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it gave me like an obsession with figures. So I would be looking at percentages, like what percentage was I on last week versus last month versus last year.
Yeah.
Was I up or down? What reason was I up or down? I would always sort of look at the age demographic of people that come into the shop.
Yeah.
So when I opened up, I wanted to have granddad to first haircut.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I have a sheet and I'd do it by age profile, and I'd say, right, okay, so I have him, and him. Why have I not got the 13 to 15-year-old? I need to react to that for a reason to see how I get it in, and that all stems from the whole figure side of things.
Yeah. Obviously now the shop's been open how many years?
8 years nearly.
8 years.
Yeah.
When you won the award for Male Venue Grooming of the Year, that must have been some accomplishment.
Yeah,
see your hard work pay off.
It was huge, man. Yeah, we'd put an awful lot of work in, and I got obviously my wife and that supports me as well, and she'd always be helping with the books and the figures and that. I got an email one day to say that you were nominated for this and a finalist, and I thought it was a scam, to be honest. I was like, what's this about? And they were trying to ring me then for ages, and I wouldn't answer. I said, I'm not bothered with that. Yeah. And I answered the phone one day, and I was like, no, you've been nominated by your customers. It's a nice thing. So I said, yeah, we'll go for it. We went up, and we had some stiff competition. Like we had Men's Spire and Dublin were in the same category, and a few others. But the best thing about it was you had to write your own reasons why you thought you deserved it under maybe 5 or 6 different headings. And I got to explain exactly what I wanted for my barbershop. The more old school type of vibe to it.
Yeah.
A lot of young modern barbers now, they're valuing themselves more than the customer.
Yeah.
They're seeing the Instagram profiles of these guys in the white rooms and the mirrors and how important it is, and the skin fade and the taper is the only haircut you can do. Whereas it's a lot more to it than that,
For a young barber, obviously you worked in retail. Is that something maybe you'd advise, or maybe working for someone else?
Yeah, 100%. I'd advise if you could work for somebody else first and get to know the running of the shop, the dynamics of the shop. Like I say, the cutting of the hair is the easy part. You have to have a passion for that, or you wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
But the running of the business is a different side of things, and if you've got a good mentor when it comes to that, then you're absolutely flying.
Yeah, class. Obviously now you've had the shop open for 8 years. You've probably been barbering a lot longer than that. How do you keep yourself fresh and reinvigorated?
You have to roll with the times. I suppose the social media and the things is something that I need to be doing more of, but I don't. I kind of when I set my stall at the start and I figured out who I want and how I want to get them.
Yeah.
It's kind of just snowball from that, and now you've got dads who bring their sons who talk with their friends, and it's a word of mouth thing. Word of mouth is huge. We can use all the tools like social media and advertising, but word of mouth is it's huge in this game.
Yeah. Obviously, you get a customer in, but how do you keep them coming back? I feel like that's a big thing as well. Maybe the atmosphere you set, or how you
absolutely.
first introduce yourself to a new customer.
It's like you need to make them feel part of everything. In here, and from coming in here, there's always a good atmosphere. I feel if someone feels good, so it's a really awkward thing. You're so close to somebody's head. Yeah. There's no conversation. It can be quite awkward.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you can make them feel at ease, make them feel at home, sort of you can spark an interest in a conversation. People like to be listened to. They feel listened to and they feel they're valued. They're going to come back.
Yeah. Obviously, barbering takes up a lot of your time. Is there anything on the side maybe that you like to do? Maybe is a watch football or something?
Yeah, I do a fair bit of coaching now at Dundalk Young Islanders.
Class,
my wee lassie plays with them. It was one of those things where I dropped her to train and I ended up inheriting 3 teams. All I wanted to do was drop her off, and it was, you're back, there you go, there's 3 teams for you, So I like to do that to mine. Obviously, I've got 4 kids, so free time is a premium, you don't get a whole lot of it, but it's all good, I love the craziness of it.
Yeah. just with obviously every young barber's dream is to open a shop and all. Is there any maybe early struggles you had that maybe might be common in opening a barber
100%,
shop?
man. It's not all rose tinted. Like there was days I sat around in Bridge Street in the first shop. I sat around there and there was maybe like 3 people coming to the shop in a day.
Yeah.
And I was panicking, and I was like, what do I do here? Was this a right idea? Was this a good idea? But you have to persevere through it. 12 months,
instinct,
12 months minimum. You do not give up on it. Like I've had lads come in here and they said, I was at 6 straight weeks and it wasn't making the money. I couldn't stay at it. But nothing happens overnight. You need to persevere. You need to put yourself out there. And it is uncomfortable and it can be scary, but it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah. Obviously now you have this shop 8 years. What's next for Dapper Chaps? What's maybe?
Yeah, there's things in the pipeline. We were looking at maybe running a few courses. Like as you said, an introduction to barbering.
Yeah.
Maybe a 2-day course to see someone leaving school whether they actually do like barbering. They might think they want to do it, but when they come in and have a run through what it is, they might say, I don't know actually, or might say, yeah, absolutely, I love this. And move on. Yeah. So they're sort of things we're thinking of. Obviously, there'll be another shop in the pipeline. We're looking at locations and stuff like that too. So it's
and do you see yourself barbering, or do you see yourself more on the management side maybe in 10 years? So
yeah, look, it can get intense, and when you're doing high volume of customers and turnover, it's not the easiest job in the world to be doing. So I'd love to get to the stage where I'd like to be able to take a step back, but I don't know, man. I think I'd miss it too much. Even in Balfour, you come in here.
Passion, like
that's it, man.
First love,
when you're surrounded by people, different stories every day. It's not the same thing. You know what I mean? Different conversations. You get to meet different people, hear different stories, interesting. So I don't think I'd ever be able to walk away altogether. But a step back in the future would be nice.
There's a lot of young barbers. I was talking to you about this the other day. There's a lot of young barbers. You said maybe you can see a few mistakes they're making early. Like I feel like everybody my age, even my brother's age, is barbering or cutting. What's your advice to them to maybe get on the right track? Maybe they don't have the right guidance, or they don't sort of have the right inspiration behind it.
Yeah, I think it's sort of been trivialized a little bit. It's like it's something like, okay, you don't need a license to do this. I don't need to do an exam as such. I can just go in and do this. But it's not the right road to go down. There's so many things about like sanitation, cleanliness, health and safety and things like that. People don't realize that. All of a sudden you don't want to cutting someone's hair and all of a sudden start getting a rash, or just come from your clippers, or the dirty or the clean. There's a lot into it, and I love to see so many young people doing it, because obviously it's great for me if I need staff, and there's a big interest in it, but it's going about it in the right way. People are this thing of setting up in a shed, it seems to be like it's just exploded, and it's a trend, but it's definitely not the way to go about it. Love to see the interest, but come to the likes of myself. There's loads of good barbers in Dundalk, loads of well-established shops, and we'd be more than delighted to have people come in and ask for advice. We take people on for work experience here all the time. And anyone we can help, we will. But I would say anyone who's really passionate about it, go about it the right way. Yeah,
that's class. I'm going to end off on one would you rather question. Would you rather not cut hair for a full year, or not listen to music for a year? I know it's a tough one. It's probably your 2 favourite things.
I suppose I'd rather... I'm getting paid now for not cutting hair.
Well, no, you can do your management.
Okay. I'd rather not listen to music for a year.
Cut the hair for the year.
There's a bit of therapy in here when you're cutting hair, so I'd rather stick with that.
Yeah, 100%. Eoin, thanks very much. Absolute pleasure.
Appreciate it.